All right, this is a Fox News alert. She is the fourth woman to accuse Herman Cain of sexual harassment. Her name is Sharon Bialek, and she is the first woman to go public with her story, leveling really the most serious allegations that we have heard in all of this so far. She claims that the frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination made unwanted sexual advances towards her when he was head of the National Restaurant Association back in 1997.
I want you, Mr. Cain, to come clean. Just admit what you did. Admit you were inappropriate to people. Mr. Cain, I implore you, make this right so that you and the country can move forward and focus on the real issues at hand.
A lot of questions out there this morning about this story, and we start a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. With that, I'm Martha Maccallum.
And I'm Bill Hemmer. Good morning. Herman Cain set to hold a news conference later today. We believe it'll happen at 5 o'clock East Coast time, and will address the allegations which he strongly denies.
That's right. And I spoke with Sharon Bialek and her attorney, Gloria Allred, earlier this morning. Welcome, ladies. Good to have you with us. I know it's been a very busy couple of days, so we appreciate you coming in today. Sharon, the first question is for you. How did you and Gloria connect? How did you find each other?
Right. The person that I was dating when this incident happened, he called me and recommended that I go forward and contact Gloria because he said, you have to be with the best.
And this is your fiance?
No, it's not my fiance. This is the person from 14 years ago.
Oh, so he reached out to you?
Yeah.
Out of the blue?
He thought I might have been one of the anonymous ones.
I see.
And I said that I wasn't, but I'm in a quandary here. Help me out. What should I do? And he thought the best thing to do was to go forward with this. And if I was going to do so, that I needed to get in contact with Gloria.
Okay. So, Gloria, you had not reached out to her in any way?
No, Martha, I've been practicing law for 36 years. I've had thousands of people contact me. Every one of my clients is a person who has contacted me. So I had never heard of Sharon before this.
All right. So in terms of, how this came about and why you decided to pursue it, there's a lot of people who are looking at the situation and saying, well, why on earth would she wait? If this happened and you were so upset by it, why would you wait until now to come forward when this man is running for president of the United States and you knew that you could very potentially be the person, the straw that broke the camel's back? Mm-hmm. Why?
Well, first of all, back then, he wasn't, first of all, Mr. Cain, I wasn't working for the National Restaurant Association at that point. So in terms of any kind of recourse, we weren't joined together in terms of any kind of relationship, a working relationship. And I was embarrassed, to be honest with you. I mean, that's not the kind of thing that people like to bring up. I told exactly 2 people what happened. They have corroborated with my story. And I just kind of wanted it to go away, if you will. And then when I saw him running for president and I actually heard him speak and I was sitting in the audience, the thought kept running through my mind is, oh boy, I hope that nobody else had to have what happened to me. And I really did. And I was going to keep mum and I wasn't going to say a word. I just was going to keep it inside me and the other 2 people. And then and then when the other women came forward, which they sort of did, really didn't, and they couldn't speak or didn't want to speak, right. I had to do it.
Well, people look at the situation and say, she's coming forward for money. Uh-huh. Has anyone offered you any money in this situation?
Absolutely not.
Do you plan to make any money off of it? Would you write a book? Would you do interviews for money? Would you do a magazine interview for money based on this?
This isn't why I came forward.
But would you do it?
I'd have to think about that. That's so far off the radar right now. Right now, my main goal, and it was initially too, is to get Herman to speak, to get him to admit to this.
Why didn't you approach him personally then? Why didn't you send him an email or a letter and say, look, you should know that I remember what happened and I'm going to come forward and talk about it? Why didn't you do that?
Because those kinds of things usually don't end up in a good situation. And I thought it best to go through an attorney because just what's going on now, you need protection.
But you have said you only want him to come clean. You only want him to speak out and say, yes, what do you want him to say exactly?
I want him to acknowledge that points in time in his life, he's been inappropriate with women. I don't know what the others' allegations are. I know what mine are. I know I'm speaking the truth. And that's what I want him to do, is just say, hey, you know, I've made some mistakes. And we all make mistakes. You know, America is such a
Do you expect that's what will happen today when he comes out? I mean, is he going to say, there's a lot of choices. He could say, I've never met this woman. I don't know who she is. Or he could say, yes, I've met this woman. She obviously way misinterpreted my intentions towards her. You know, what do you expect he will say? What do you think he's going to say? I guarantee you're going to be hanging on every word when he comes out today.
Sure. I'm sure he will acknowledge that he knows me, because I don't think he cannot, because when I saw him at TCON in Chicago at WIND's conference there, he did acknowledge that he remembered me. So for him to go back on that would be just what he's doing now, which is not telling the truth. So, and I think what he's going to say is he's still going to deny it, unfortunately. My hope of all hopes is that he won't, because I think he's being misguided by his people right now. I think they're giving him really bad advice, and if he doesn't, there's probably, I hope then, if he doesn't, that there might be more coming out too, and what's that going to serve the purpose?
What would you call what happened to you in terms of, you know, harassment or what would you call it?
Unwanted advances.
An unwanted advance. So, you know, when I read through it, I thought to myself, you know, and I'm sympathetic. You know, we've all been in situations, you know, workplace situations where, you know, the gray line is you know, a little gray. Okay.
Sure.
But when I read this, I think to myself, I put myself in your shoes. Would I get on a train? Would I go to visit this man? Would I stay in a hotel overnight? Would I have cocktails with him in the hotel lobby and go out for dinner? I'm thinking, no, I probably would send him a letter and say, may I please meet with you in your office? Or, you know, maybe lunch, but cocktails and dinner seems like a strange way to have this meeting to me.
I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, first of all, you have to understand that I had an opportunity, along with my then boyfriend, to meet Herman during the NRA's convention. We spent a lot of time with him. I had nothing but the utmost admiration for him. In fact, when he got done with one of his speeches, I said, you're going to be running, when you're running for president. So going there, I mean, why would I even think? You know, you like to think the best in people. So I never thought anything, you know, would transpire. Why would I? He was a solid individual.
But when he said, I upgraded your room, and you said you thought that was odd, that's your report, that he upgraded his room. At that moment, maybe say, look, I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. We're not on a date right now.
No. Then again, I just thought he was being kind. Okay. I mean, why would I think anything differently?
I don't know. I think I would have thought it was a little odd, personally, at that point.
Well, Martha, in retrospect, we can now see what the pattern was. But the point was, he had met her boyfriend. He knew why she was there. It was to discuss the job. She thought the best of him. She didn't think that he would be the kind of person that would act inappropriately
as I said,
towards
my
her.
Interpretation might have been different, but that was your interpretation.
And can I clear up one thing, too, about when you asked about why would I go out to dinner with him? I did not suggest dinner, by the way, per your point about, you know, I would just send him a letter. What I wanted to do was have coffee with him. He asked me to let him know where I was staying, and at that point he said, why don't we meet in the hotel lobby?
All right. We have a lot to talk about, not a whole lot of time left. But I do want to play this because this is his only reaction so far. We know he has a news conference today, but he was on Jimmy Kimmel last night.
I saw
Obviously a comedy venue, but it's the only place that he's so far responded to this in a serious way. So I want to take a look at this and get your response.
I'm sitting here, and they're watching me, and they could see steam coming out of my ears. And the feelings that you have when you know that all of this is totally fabricated, you go from anger, then you get disgusted, you try to control yourself to make sure you watch this thing all the way through. And I was listening very closely. And then when it was all over with, I said, well, I know what we got to do.
He says it's completely fabricated.
Well, those comments about anger, frustration, steam coming out of your ear. Yesterday when I went into this, I was completely fine. As this day has progressed, I'm feeling all those feelings that Herman's feeling, the anger, the frustration, only I know the truth. and he's not telling it.
You know, when these initial accusations from the other women who are anonymous came out, everybody started looking at every political campaign, asking who might be behind this, who's trying to take Herman Cain down with these accusations. People are going to want to know that from you. Did any campaign contact you in any way?
No, I'm not affiliated with any.
Everybody's looking into your financial past, that there was a bankruptcy, there were some liens against you. These are things that a lot of people in this country have to deal with, unfortunately. One of the things is that you lived in at 505 North Lake Shore Drive apartment, right? And that's the same building. It happens to be the same building that David Axelrod lives in. Do you know David Axelrod? Ever had any interaction with him at all?
I saw him in the gym. Everybody nods to each other. It's a friendly building, but I never had any interaction with him.
Okay. And I might add that she is a registered Republican.
Registered?
Yes.
And what they're going to say about you, Gloria, and has been said, is that you have supported Democratic candidates in the past, that, this is a political vendetta for you. So what do you say to that?
And I'm sure you remember Martha about a month or two ago when I was here in New York and held a news conference with my client, and we attacked Congressman Anthony Weiner, a Democrat, for inappropriate sexual texting that he had done to my client, and my client said that he should resign. In past, also, I have criticized President Clinton for lying to the American people about the Monica Lewinsky issue. And so whether, I am representing my client, I am a proud supporter of women's rights and of the brave women like Sharon who stand up and break the silence and tell the truth. And I don't care if the man is rich and powerful and famous, a politician. I don't care if he's Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or no party at all. We are going to stand up for women.
All right, Gloria Allred, thank you very much. Sharon Bialek, thanks very much for coming in and talking to us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.